Well, unfortunately, there are no early warning systems in place for the stock market. No one really knows for sure when it's going to make a correction. And the question is, how can people who are especially planning to retire, how can they protect themselves when there are those fluctuations in the market? Well, Jacksonville's retirement coach, Adam Wolf, is back to talk about it. He is the president of Wolf Retirement Navigation and one of the area's financial advisors, leading the way to help people with their retirement. So good to see you, Adam. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you, Casey.
So
Thank you.
let's talk a little bit about this because we had people write in with the Ask the Coach segment. People were asking their questions about what should I do given the circumstances or, the fluctuations in the market. So let's start with the first one. This is from the first viewer saying, are there any factors or red flags that can tip us off to a potential market correction?
Okay, so it's almost impossible to time market corrections, and just to bring it back, the definition of a correction is anything more than a 10% loss in a stock market index, whether it's the Dow, the S&P 500. And a major bear market is more than 20%. So these things do occur. The 10% does happen about once a year. It's very difficult to time. But if we do see a lot of money going into the stock market after an 8.5-year run up in the stock market, and actually the last time we've had anything less or more than a 10% correction in the major stock market indexes was late 2016, and then again late 2015. So to answer the question, it's very difficult to judge. You have to have a plan in place to protect against the worst cases at all times.
Hedge.
And that's how you hedge your bets.
Hedge your bets. Okay, next question for the coach. My company recently announced that they would be freezing pensions for non-union workers to cut costs. Is there anything that I can do to offset the loss of a pension?
This is happening more and more. A lot of the companies out there, they do not want to pay these pensions, or they're underfunded or not funded properly. So they're sending letters to their workers and to their employees that's saying, these things are now frozen and we're not going to add into them. So having a secondary set of savings, putting away more money on the sideline to help to replace some of that lost income. And then as we get into retirement, it's all about guaranteeing income and replacing income in retirement for a lot of the fixed costs. So using whether the market-based accounts, we're taking draws out throughout the stock market, or having safe, secure income annuities to replace income is one of the keys. There's all kinds of annuities. There's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of good ones. So you have to be careful when you look into that.
Okay, next question for a third viewer. I don't want to carry a mortgage into retirement, but I am reluctant to let go of that tax deduction. Which is better in the long run, in your opinion? Yeah,
the most successful plans I've seen out there are folks who have paid the mortgages off or have a plan in place right after retirement to pay those mortgages off. So before retirement or after that retirement date, that's the big one. But it basically boils down to there's the feeling of not having debt. That's the major, and sometimes that trumps better than the actual returns from a math perspective, a market perspective, the trade-off. So, but if you're looking at the math, if you're able to earn more than your mortgage rate, plus the tax savings that you get by being able to potentially deduct as an itemized deduction in retirement, you look at those two numbers and you say which one's higher, and if you can make more potential return than paying off your mortgage, it makes a lot of sense. But when I meet with people, a lot of folks want to get that mortgage paid off or paid down, but you can do both. That's the answer.
Okay. And last but not least, fourth question. I am 60 years old and I am considering retiring at 61. Does that give me enough time to prepare for the financial transition?
It gives you enough time on paper to put together a plan, but making sure that you have all your ducks in a row, from savings and adequate savings, understanding how much you have saved, and basically squeezing as much juice from that fruit as you can over the lifetime, and getting to a point where they aren't printing. I tell my clients this all the time. They aren't printing more of what? They're printing more money, but they're not printing more time. So being able to save a year or 2 years or 3 years by retiring earlier than you possibly thought is the key.
All right, Adam, so good to see you.
Great to see you, Casey.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you answering those questions. And we'd like to thank Wolf Retirement Navigation for sponsoring this segment. If you have any questions for the coach, you can ask him yourself. Email questions to questions@jacksonvillesretirementcoach.com. You can keep your questions brief. Be sure to include your name and phone number, and Adam may answer your question right here the next time we do our Ask the Coach segment. If you'd rather sit down with Adam for a one-on-one, in-depth review of your financial plan, you can call his office today to set up a complimentary consultation. The number's on your screen, 904-232-8760. or you can go to his website. He has 2 locations, one in Jacksonville and also one in Clay County, wolfretirement.com for more information.